Hello, world. YouTube. This is Stacey Killings, and this is the Stacey K podcast. And I'm so happy to talk to Giant fans. This is a team that I love. I've loved as a kid, going back to LT, and now on to the next one. Meaning now we in 2022, and we got Daniel Jones, Kayvon Thibodeau, Barkley. So I'm looking forward to this season and my first podcast. And I want to talk about a few things with you guys. I'm hoping to build a nice relationship. I think we can manifest greatness together. And I'm looking forward to just dispensing information with you folks. So again, this is the Stacey K podcast. The first thing I want to talk about is Daniel Jones. And specifically, what I want to talk about is how Daniel Jones is treated. Now, there is millions and millions of fans who love the New York Giants. The New York Giants are the 10th most followed team on social media. So millions and millions and millions and millions of Giants fans love this team. And at the same time, I almost feel like those same amount of folks despise Daniel Jones. It's almost like they're rooting for his demise over winning. And this is the thing. That's what I don't like. I think what we should do as Giant fans is be objective. Be fair. When Daniel Jones first got drafted by the Giants, I'm no different than you guys. I thought we were going to draft Josh Allen. I was ready. And when they drafted Daniel Jones in 2019, I was like, what? But he's our quarterback. This is a new season. We got Mike Kafka, Brian Dable offense. And Daniel Jones, for the first time, I believe, is going to have a scheme that fits him. Is going to have an offensive line that's going to be able to provide run blocking and provide lanes for Saquon, Matt Breida, and Antonio Williams. And in time, we'll be able to grow in pass support with Evan Neal, Lewinsky, Feliciano at center. Hopefully Shane Lemieux at right guard, and obviously our elite left tackle, Andrew Thomas. But my point is, specifically, the fans and the vitriol towards Daniel Jones. This is the thing. You don't have to like him. That's fine. But be objective. Yesterday, he played very well. He was decisive. He wasn't sticking on one receiver. He wasn't looking at one side of the field. He got that ball out just the way we want to, so that then our run-ins, whether that be a running back, a wide receiver, or a tight end, can then have yak. 14 for 16, 116 yards, and he commanded the offense. And then the next day on social media, I'm seeing these hot takes about, oh, he just did it with backups. But you know darn well, folks, if Daniel Jones had another day where he played like a dog, New York would be in an uproar. But the fact that he had that kind of performance against the Cincinnati Bengals backups, now we're moving the goalposts. And I don't think that's a fair or objective thing to do. So that's just something that I think that we have to kind of like really reevaluate in terms of our fandom. The second thing I wanted to talk about is losing Darian Beavers, the linebacker, the young linebacker, 6th round pick, who's instinctive, who essentially is a linebacker that is able to get downhill quickly and cover in space. We lost him yesterday. And I have to say, this is a point that's actually like there's a cross point that I'm trying to make here. John Mara, stop being a cheap I don't know, I wanted to use some stronger words, but John Mara, you and Steve Tisch, you have a $7 billion industry that's growing. And yet, year after year after year, New York Giants are losing players to this turf. It's time. It's way, 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 way past time. You almost lost Kayvon. Thank God. It was just a MCL sprain for Kayvon. But you lost a very promising young linebacker that could help your team win because you don't want to change the turf. As Giant fans, we invest in this team. Merch, coming to the stadium, talking about this team breathlessly. And yet one of the continual topics is injuries due to this turf. John Mara, we're asking you, we're pleading with you as fans. Please, next year, you and Tisch go sit in a dark room and meditate on this. Change the turf, please. Evan Neal, I like what I saw yesterday. He's growing as a player. He's not Eric Flowers 2.0. Evan Neal is a work in progress. Evan Neal is very clear. His run support is already more advanced than his ability to pass protect. And that's fine. But the thing about Evan Neal that I like is that that man has the eye of the tiger. Evan Neal, unlike Eric Flowers, is not going to give up on himself. That's an individual that's going to put the work in after hours. That is not going to be what some would say is a bad actor. Evan Neal, by the 8th game of this season, is going to become a dominant right tackle, or at least a solid right tackle. His future's bright. I was very impressed. He had one bad snap yesterday. And I have to say, since we're giving Evan Neal credit, we have to give Bobby Johnson credit. Bobby Johnson and Tony Sperano Jr., outstanding work. Kudos, guys. Outstanding work. I mean, you guys are definitely proving that you can have players and then you got coaches on one side, and the players are there to receive coaching, and you guys are basically doing the coaching. I mean, let's think about what we had over the last 5 years, and I can honestly say in that 5 years we have never seen an offensive line this cohesive already. One, providing a consistent pocket for Daniel Jones and for the supporting quarterbacks in Davis Webb and Tyrod Taylor. That was outstanding job. Now, I have to impart with some bad news. Over these now 2 games, we've had an opportunity to see our special teams look terrible. Our special teams coordinator has been lauded for good work. But right now, that's not what we've grown accustomed to. If there's one unit that New York Giant fans have grown accustomed to seeing at least solid to above average play has been our special teams. But right now, I have to say, I'm scared. Our coverage is terrible. When we return to football, we're not securing it. So I'm not going to panic. I'm not going to panic. But I'm going to say that our coordinator, Patrick McKay, my guy, we got to clean that up fast. Special teams can win you games. It can lose you games. The Cowboys just got a difference maker in Kelvin Turpin. That kid is going to change field position for the Cowboys. Who's going to be the difference maker for us? We got to get special teams cleaned up ASAP. I tell you, one thing I always love is an underdog. I'm rooting so much for Alec Bachman. That man made himself some money yesterday. That guy had almost his Victor Cruz moment. And I have to say, and I think I can be really clear in saying this, I must say that if the Giants decide to not put him on a 53 and they try to get him placed on the practice squad, I don't think he's going to make it. I think he's getting claimed. I think some team sees a young, hungry player who can play in the middle of the field and get those first downs. I think the Giants may have to have a real serious discussion about who's productive and who's not, who can stay healthy and who can't stay healthy. And let's be real clear, I love Sterling Shepard, but Sterling can't stay healthy. But you have a young lion in Alex Bachman who's ready. We've been grooming him for 3 years. And I like David Sills. And it looks like David Sills, based on what we heard from Brian Dable, that not only is he going to make the roster, but he's going to get a chance to play. So we know that the deepest room for the New York Giants is the wide receiver room. But I have to say, I think that Brian Dable and Mike Kafka and Joe Sheen, when they sit down and they discuss this roster soon, when they're trying to get to 53, I think some hard decisions are going to have to be made. Alec Bachman, off of that performance, 11 catches. What do you have? 122 yards, 2 touchdowns. That was a statement there. That's a man who is on a mission. And I think it's time for us to get out of I guess the word is being sentimental, and really think about what's best for the New York Giants. I love Sterling, but he can't stay healthy. I think we have to move on. I know he took a pay cut, and it's a cold business. I know NFL is a cold business, but Sterling Shepard, Alec Bachman, I'd have to go with Alec Bachman. Now, my last thing I want to say to you guys, Wink Martindale, I know you want to run an aggressive defense, but you know your defense depends on 2 corners who can lock down the boundaries. And I got to say, I know I'm not the only one to feel this way, but Aaron Robinson scares me. I don't believe he can cover. He's not ready. He's not ready. Wink, Joe Sheen, let's be objective. That's a key word for me, and we have to really think about how do we get a veteran who can man that position. I mean, there's potentially people like Ross Cockrell, solid veteran, not a world beater, and would fit. Because clearly Gettleman left the Giants with no cap space. But he'd be immensely better at this point than Aaron Robinson. Aaron Robinson at this point in his career is a sub. All right, guys. Again, this is Stacey Killings. This is my first podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed talking to you guys, and I look forward to us having a beautiful, beautiful relationship and developing a bond, and then ultimately for us growing this podcast. And it'll only be because of you guys supporting me as I grow. Again, this is the Stacey K podcast. All right, Big Blue. Let's keep making it happen. All right. Later.